Hey everybody, it's Robert the Other Weasley here, coming at you with my in-depth analysis of the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them trailer. This is the trailer that just dropped last night at the MTV Movie Awards. There is a previous trailer, which I'm going to do a future analysis of if you guys want it. If you guys want it, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and comment down below. But yeah, we're just going to get into this video now. I have recorded this video already. Unfortunately, for some reason, my camera decided not to record the audio, so I'm watching the audio levels really carefully right now to make sure that it is indeed recording. So let's head into it. First thing that you see when you open up the trailer, or when you start playing the trailer, is the Warner Brothers logo showing up with that sort of mist around it, that smoke and that glowing that you always got when you had the Harry Potter films. That's one of the things I love about this trailer. Warner Brothers hasn't really done something like this specifically with their Warner Brothers logo since the Harry Potter films, and just seeing it again on screen just brings that back, all those magical memories that we had from when we had the Harry Potter films around, back when they were first coming out. So this just brings back the magic for us, and it's quite exciting. The next shot here that we have, or the next few shots rather, are of Newt Scamander sitting there on the on the bench on the ship, as he's going over from England to New York. Next shot here, you have him looking at New York, and I just love this shot. It's a very beautiful shot, and you can tell it's a very different feel from the Harry Potter films. Harry Potter films had a very UK British vibe to it, of course, because it's set in England, whereas this is set in New York. You can sort of see it's kind of like a smoggy look to it. It looks kind of like a gangster New York, which of course this is times of, you know, early gangs and stuff, you know, Al Capone and all that. So speaking of Al Capone, we'll get to that later in the video. We'll mention him later in the video, but that's what I get from this shot here. That's what I feel from this shot here, is it's very, you know, early 1900s gangster New York. And then the next shot here, you have a creature, which I do know what creature this is, and if you want to find out what creature it is, just keep watching the video. I cover it later because you see it later in this video, or in this trailer. The next shot here is this creature I'm not going to name right now, but I am excited to see it on screen. It's trying to peek out of Newt's suitcase there, trying to escape. I definitely want to get one of these suitcases. I'm so excited for, I'm going to be working on a cosplay here. We'll cover that in a second. Next shot here, you have Newt Scamander and Kowalski there. Kowalski's sitting in the bottom right corner, whereas Newt's working on something. This is definitely from probably the maybe middle of the movie, I think. The narrator right now is saying, you know, you were expelled from Hogwarts, so people are going to think, you know, this is from, you know, either his Hogwarts days or maybe shortly thereafter, but I'm pretty sure this is him as he or somewhere in the movie when he's trying to subdue whatever the big magical creature is. So he's making a potion. That's why you can see him squeezing something out of maybe some kind of magical berry or something, magical nut, and it just sort of goes into the vial, or I guess he's going to use it for a potion. So that's quite exciting. It's going to be nice to see him doing some potion making to maybe make a sleeping draft for capturing whatever creature he's trying to capture. And the next shot here is a fisheye lens shot of the car, or of New York City streets. Now I think this is actually going to be a perspective shot from the creature itself. I was going to say dragon, but I don't think it's going to be a dragon in this film. That would be such a cop-out from Warner Brothers and J.K. Rowling to give us another dragon, because we've already seen dragons in the film. We know how awesome they are, but I don't think this is a dragon in the film. I think it's going to be either a manticore, a chimera, or another class 5 Ministry of Magic danger level from the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I think it's going to be another class 5 on that list. The next shot here, we have Porpentina and Newt Scamander heading into a underground pub. I'm going to assume this is during the Prohibition, so of course alcohol is forbidden, so that's why you have the crates of alcohol off to the right. And they look kind of nervous down there. No idea why they'd be going down there, but probably to get some help finding some kind of magical creature. The next shot here, you have the banker's pub and stuff, and you have Newt Scamander look back at, I guess he's seen a creature that's escaped from his suitcase on the ground, and he's probably going to go chasing after it soon. In the next shot here, you see him getting off of the the ship that, of course, brought him to America. You see him standing in front of the customs desks there, and then, of course, presenting himself to the customs officer, who's like, who, of course, questions him, do you have any, illegal stuff that you shouldn't be bringing over? And he's like, no. The thing pops open on his suitcase, and he's like, oh, gotta get that fixed. That's really cool. You can tell that they're trying to, creatures are in there, going to break out any minute now, and I'm just so excited to see what creatures they put into this film. See him look down there, and then, of course, you see this awesome thing on his suitcase. He's got a little lever that he can push to make it muggle-worthy, which disguises the contents of it as just, normal traveling stuff for muggles, You have a magnifying glass, a scarf, an alarm clock, just basic necessities that somebody would be carrying around back then, and definitely not a bigger on the inside TARDIS-like suitcase. So we'll head on to the next shot here, and it's of course him getting relieved and getting handed back his suitcase and his passport, not necessarily in that order, of course, and you see him just rush to grab it and get out of there because he doesn't want to spend any more time there than he has to, because that could be a very nerve-wracking thing if his bag is making all these squeaks and growls and stuff. And yeah, the customs officer would probably ask a few more questions. Then the next shot, of course, it says J.K. Rowling invites you. Now, of course, that story will continue after the next few shots. It shows the Ministry of Magic for the Americas. I can't remember what the name of it's called, but it's going to be superimposed on the screen here. And you can see Serafina, I believe her name's Serafina. Yeah, Serafina Pickery. She's going to be like the Ministry of Magic, or the Minister of Magic for the Americas. And then you have Porpentina and Newt there, of course, walking down walking over a bridge, I guess, in the new Ministry of Magic or something. And Newt's all like flabbergasted because it's all glossy and gold and shiny and stuff. Probably not what he's used to at Hogwarts and stuff, where it's more like old and got that grungy look to it, but not like grungy in a bad way, grungy in like a really awesome, ancient way. The next shot here is a really cool one. I have freeze framed this a few times to try to get the name of the newspaper, and it looks like it's the New York Ghost, which would be a really cool name for a newspaper, but of course I don't know. It's really pixely. Even in HD I wasn't able to make it out perfectly, but it's the New York Ghost is from what I can tell from right now. But it says International Wizard Hunt intensifies, magical disturbances risk wizarding exposure. So that's kind of cool there. And of course on the back it says reward for the arrest of Alberto Macellarius. I guess that's basically the Al Capone of the wizarding world at this time. So that's really cool. It's cool to see a magical newspaper from somewhere else, not just the Daily Prophet. And we're just going to head on to the next shot here, which is, of course, the next few shots, or couple shots here, which, of course, Newt Scamander and Kowalski standing looking in amazement as Queenie and Porpentina open up the Diagon Alley style door. The bricks just sort of disappear, and then there's a door behind it which leads down into this underground pub, underground contraband pub, where there's all the prohibition and the alcohol and stuff going on. So yeah, that's one of the things that I find really cool about this. It kind of refers back to the first Harry Potter, when the bricks sort of just disappear, or bricks open up to Diagon Alley. This is kind of a similar shot to that. Then it says, this is a continuation of the thing, J.K. Rowling invites you to explore a new era, and then the last one will come up soon. Then of course you see Newt walking around New York. I guess this is probably right when he gets off the ship and he enters New York. He's looking around at the grandeur of the city. It's way bigger city than what he's used to, and So yeah, this is a great shot of him also. You get to see his full out, or not his full outfit, but most of his outfit, and I cannot wait to cosplay this. You know, get that sort of blue toned jacket, you get the golden, you know, vest, and you got the black bow tie, and of course this suitcase, which just looks amazing, and I can't wait to cosplay it. It's gonna be awesome. And yeah, let's head on to the next shot here, which is a shot of, I guess, you know, one of the press releases, or like the press conferences for Shaw, who's the Senator Shaw in this film, which was a real U.S. senator, by the way. So it's really nice that this film is touching on actual U.S. history, and you know, they're going to incorporate that into the magical world. So that's pretty exciting. And you see this thing, Shaw, America's Future. So I guess this is probably like one of his conferences that he does, tries to get votes, because he's going to be Senator Shaw. So that's pretty exciting, and you just see people there. Of course, it's going to be like a banquet dinner and stuff. The American flag is hanged, whichever one it is. The next shot that we see, this shot I loved. This is one of my another one of my favorite shots in the trailer, is seeing Newt and Kowalski in, I guess, Porpentina's home, or not Porpentina's home, Queenie's home, and all the napkins and dishes flying towards the table. Porpentina's, of course, casting them towards it, and this just reminded me of that scene in Half-Blood Prince when all the stuff starts flying around the Muggle house after Horace Slughorn introduces himself to, you know, Harry and Albus Dumbledore. You know, they clean up the house instead of making it look like this gross, grungy, broken place. It looks awesome and clean and stuff. So seeing all this stuff fly around this house is just a reminder of Half-Blood Prince to me. And of course you see Queenie there cooking something, which is really nice. Nice to see that, you know, it's not house elves doing it for them, it's actually them cooking. Then it says, of the Wizarding World, you know, the third part of the continuation of J.K. Rowling invites you to a new era of the Wizarding World. My camera's battery is flashing, so if it dies, I will charge the battery a little bit, then I'll just record the rest of it after. But let's continue and get as much in as we can right now. So then we have Shaw, just looking up at his banquet, and the lights start bursting out and going out, and there's sparks everywhere. And people start, I guess, freaking out, and I'd freak out too, because that's not supposed to happen. And so I guess whatever the magical creature is, it's doing its first attack upon U.S. soil. Little, you know, magical terrorists. And then the next shot here, we see a little girl, and I guess I can't tell if she's poverty-stricken or if this is just, you know, like an outside dress. But she's throwing something up in the air and then looking up at it. I don't know if it's going to be like a magical creature or what, but I'm excited to see what happens in this particular shot. If maybe she's maybe not a lead role, but if she's going to be an important role in the movie, if she's just going to be kind of like an extra that got like a little bit more screen time than all the other extras. In the next shot here, we have Colin Farrell looking very strict. He is, of course, the Auror Graves, who is hunting down Newt Scamander in the film. I guess Newt's wanted for, obviously, the escape of all these magical creatures. And of course, at the beginning of the trailer, it is Graves that is talking, and Colin Farrell that is talking to Newt about, you were expelled from Hogwarts, Dumbledore came to your aid. Hearing Dumbledore's name in this trailer, that was super exciting, and I'm so happy that they mentioned Dumbledore and, related back to the Harry Potter that we know. Continue along this line of things here. We get into my first magical creature discovery of this trailer. You can see some Aurors there hunting down Porpentina and Newt Scamander. They're underground, and Newt throws this weird looking bird thing out of nowhere, and it turns into this giant kind of vulture-esque thing. I can't really explain it, but I've gone through the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and I think it's an augury, which is a Irish phoenix, and it is black and green, and has kind of a vulture, kind of an underfed vulture look to it. So I think that's what this is, because when it comes out, it's got green and black wings, and then when it comes out fully, it's got blue wings. But that could just be a trick of the eye, or could maybe have blue as well. But I do think it's an augury, because there's no other creature in Fantastic Beasts that I think it could be. So yeah. And then we have just the next shot here of whatever the magical creature is blasting in the door and sending everyone flying. I don't know what kind of creature has this ability. As I said, I don't think it's going to be a dragon in this film. I also, I've tried to sort of figure out what other creature it could be. It looks, you can't see it in this particular shots, but it has to be there, so it could be something invisible, which would lead me to think it's a demiguise, but demiguises are usually very peaceful in nature, so I doubt it would be a demiguise here. It's going to be some other creature that we don't know about yet, or it's in the books and I just haven't sort of figured out what it is yet. But I want to try to make a prediction video of what I think it's going to be closer to the release date of the film, but we'll get to that later. And so you see all these people getting thrown back. You can see thrown onto a table and everything, and then you see another fisheye lens camera shot. I think it's from the creature's perspective of just everyone getting blasted back, and yeah, so I think this is definitely going to be the actual like creature's eyes, like what it's seeing as all this is happening. And then you see Newt, of course, being captured. Now, the reason why I think he's being captured is because it's a bright light on him. He looks kind of shocked, like he was going to run, but of course the bright light's there, and then somebody in the distance there is holding their wand to him. So he's kind of in a pickle there, and he's going to be captured, I think. Then you see Porpentina here is also, I guess, being captured. The next shot here is the underground pub and everything, where the ore lands or apparates into the place. You can see all the crates of the alcohol off to the left, and then on the right you can just see as soon as the ore lands, everyone is out of there faster than you can say Quidditch. Then you see Graves shooting a spell towards the ground at what in the trailer it makes it look like he's shooting it at the creature. I don't think it's going to be he's shooting at the creature, because the next shot you don't see that little bright light blasting at the creature itself. You see it spinning around on the ground, and the creature here in question is the creature from the beginning of the trailer. I'm almost positive of it, and I am 100% positive that this is a Niffler, because it is a small gray and black snouted sort of creature that has an affinity for like collecting shiny stuff. And what is it holding? It's holding a coin purse. So that's got shiny stuff in it. It's shiny itself, and that is definitely a Niffler. I mean, it's got a long snout and it's adorable, and I really hope that they make plushies of this because I want one. That thing is adorable. And then the next shot here we have Queenie, I guess maybe walking around her house or walking around a building. And then you have the NYPD, the police, I guess it's just called New York Police back then, not really police department back then, but they're staring at whatever the big creature is. They have all their guns drawn, and they look terrified. So whatever this thing is, it is big. Next shot here, you have Porpentina and Newt Scamander running down in the underground, running away from these Aurors, or whoever they are. I think it's Aurors that are chasing them, and then one fires a spell, and then the next shot here is Newt Scamander jumping off a building and apparating. Awesome, so cool. See apparating return, and of course, he disappears in a flash of light. Then, of course, one of the last shots here in the trailer, you have Colin Farrell, and he says, nothing human could have done this, or something along those lines. And then you have Serafina just looking like, oh crap, this is the beginning of the end. And yeah. And then you have this awesome sort of silvery metal dragon that flies around and becomes the S in Fantastic Beasts. And then yeah, you have this title logo which looks really awesome. And then you have a few more shots here. You have Newt Scamander laying in bed there. His eyes are open, so I'm thinking he's been awake. Something's been keeping him awake, and he finally snaps and is just like, you know what? It's time to figure out what this is. And thus, he picks up his, suitcase, and he opens it up or slams it on the ground, opens it up, and steps inside. But of course, before he steps inside, let's go to this shot of Kowalski here. He is reading a book called Cassandra and Her Cat Gustavs. That's hilarious. that's just funny, and just to see him reading like such a fun, like hilariously titled book. The next shot that we see is Kowalski watching as Newt Scamander disappears into the suitcase. Then his hand pops out of the suitcase, and you hear a whistle as he's calling Kowalski into the suitcase, and Kowalski's just like, me? So that's pretty funny. I feel like Kowalski's going to be a very comedic relief character in this film, just because the scenes I've seen him in so far, he seems to sort of have a funny role. But yeah, let's hope he's not like Jar Jar Binks or something like that. Then, of course, it says November, which, of course, coming out on November 18th, which is the same date that Goblet of Fire was released in theaters, so that's really cool. And the next picture that you see is just going through, like, the end credits stuff of, like, trailers that they always have, like, showing off the producers and everything. The only thing I really want to point out here is that it says music by James Newton Howard, which is awesome. He did the music for the Hunger Games films, and he did a fantastic job with those, so I am trusting him, and I have full faith that he's going to do an awesome job with the soundtrack. So yeah, that's all really that there is. Also says produced by David Heyman, J.K. Rowling, Steve Kloves, and Lionel Wigram. Then lastly, written by J.K. Rowling and directed by David Yates. And then, of course, it just says see it in 3D, hashtag Fantastic Beasts, and then that's all. So that's all for this video. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a like. Comment down below. Let's have a discussion about like what all of our thoughts are about these this trailer, about this film, and let's just talk about it. So comment, like, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.